Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's destiny. Namaste and welcome to this Yogi talk. I'm very excited and happy to receive you here and to share my thoughts with you. I want to introduce to you the book I'm currently reading. It's called Karma, a Yogi's Guide to Craft Your Destiny by Sadhguru. I will give you all information about the book and about the author in the subscriptions underneath. Sadhguru is a yogic master, a very wise, wonderful, popular person. You might know him. And he dedicates this book to karma, to demystify it. And you probably also have your concepts, your thoughts, your ideas about karma. And most of us think about karma as fate, as our destiny, as something what happens to us, maybe even the will of something divine or so. But karma literally means translated action. And it means that we can take our responsibility back for our life destiny actually. We can get active and we carve our path through everything we're thinking, we're saying, we're doing. So through our actions, we create a reaction. We create our karma with everything we're doing. And it's pretty obvious that when we're thinking, when we're speaking, when we're acting, that we create energy. And when we create energy, this energy is flowing. It's flowing into a certain direction. It fuels something. So everything we are thinking, saying, doing influences our karma, our present moment, our past moment, our future. And it can be immediate, it can be years from now. So let me read a few passages of this book to help you understand the system of karma. And why do I tell you about it today? It is because, to me, I think it's one of the most important concepts to understand, that we are not the product of something else, we are the product of ourselves, of our actions, of who we are. And we have to take responsibility to make our society a healthy, happy society, to make our planet a healthy planet. We have the responsibility for our own life and for all living beings around us. So I invite you again to really listen with your heart, to try to not understand everything intellectually, because that will happen anyways, but really listen with your heart, because I will read with my heart to you. I know that Sadhguru writes these words with his heart to everyone who's receiving these words, so really try to listen with your heart. Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's destiny. Yoga Sutras number 1. The sutras, just to give you a little hint, are ancient yogi texts. And yoga philosophy is rooted in the sutras. And throughout this book, Sadhguru refers to the sutras as an entrance to certain chapters. With what we come to the central question of this book: what is karma? Literally, the word means action. Unfortunately, most people have understood action in terms of good and bad deeds. They see karma as a balance sheet of merits and demerits, virtues and sins. But let us shatter the first myth. In actual fact, karma has nothing to do with reward and punishment. It has nothing to do with some despotic life auditor, up in the sky, working with primitive devices of carrot and stick. It has nothing to do with a burning God up in the heavens, nothing to do with divine retribution, nothing to do with virtue and sin, good and evil, God and Mr. Lucifer. Karma simply means we have created the blueprint for our lives. It means we are the makers of our own fate. When we say, "This is my karma," we are actually saying, "I am responsible for my life." Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's destiny. Karma is the natural basis of all existence. It is not a law that is imposed from above. It does not allow us to outsource our responsibility anywhere else. It does not allow us to blame our parents, our teachers, our countries, our politicians, our gods, or our fates. It makes each one of us squarely responsible for our own destinies and, above all, the nature of our experience of life. I pause here quickly just to refer to the experience of life. He will mention it throughout the book and will get at some different points of experience of life. What he means with that is that, of course, sometimes we face obstacles. Of course, sometimes we face life situations we didn't create ourselves. We don't know where they come from. We don't have any control about it. What he means with experience of life, our own experience of life, is that we can decide how we experience these circumstances calmly along our way. We have always the choice to decide how we want to experience our life. And of course, sometimes it is uncomfortable. It is very hard to deal with certain situations, but even there we can decide how we experience these circumstances. We can always go the path of letting ourselves drown in misery and feeling the victim of whatever happens. And this exactly will carve the path of how we feel right now and how we feel in the future and how we even act in the future. We can also decide to see maybe the hidden gem in a circumstance we face, in an obstacle we face, in difficult situations. We can decide to be a true yogi in our hearts and to choose a different path. And also that will influence our future dramatically. So the only relevant question here is, are you ready for karma? Are you ready to hear about a dimension that is so empowering that it tells you that you are fully capable of taking the reins of your life into your own hands? If not, read no further. If you are willing and if you are curious to find out more about how this mechanism works, this book could be your key. All you need to do after this is to fire up your engine and set off on your own new life journey. Once you are at the wheel, your experience of the ride will never be the same again. It is important to remember one thing, however. Karma is not a doctrine. You do not get any brownie points for subscribing to it. You do not get any negative marks for disbelieving it. Karma is not a creed, a scripture, an ideology, a philosophy, or theory. It is simply the way things are. It is an existential mechanism, like the sun. It operates whether you acknowledge it or not. It simply turns you from a white-knuckled, terror-struck passenger in the back seat into a confident driver in charge of the wheel, joyfully navigating the course of your own destiny. Karma means action. Whose action? My action. Whose responsibility? My responsibility. If you understand the simple formulation, karma will fall into place. No complex theory is necessary. Just look at this way. The way I am right now is of my making. The way I will be tomorrow will also be of my making. This is karma. This is the most dynamic way to exist. Today, if a child walks before us without even basic nourishment in their body, this is our collective karma. It is our doing. As a society, as a generation, we have not done what we need to do to nourish that child. Maybe we did not produce that child. The child is the consequence of the karma of 2 other individuals. But this is still our karma. Every time we see a malnourished child, a little pain happens within us. We cannot escape it. This is our karma. We have the technologies at our disposal today that could either create phenomenal well-being or destroy the planet several times over. If the ignorant are empowered, they run the risk of sabotaging humanity entirely. It does not take a nuclear holocaust. We are capable of gassing ourselves without any nuclear assistance. However, when each one of us realizes the enormous consequences of our volition, thoughts, and actions, it could be the dawn of a great possibility, a conscious planet. We could now turn not merely into the architects of our own destiny, but into collaborators in the collective destiny of the human race. And here we come back to the Yoga Sutra number 1. Karma is about becoming the source of one's own creation. In shifting responsibility from heaven to oneself, one becomes the very maker of one's own destiny. I thank you so much for listening today, and the light in me sees and bows to the light in you. Namaste.